Welcome back, rebellious generals. This is the Battle of Fredericksburg on Legendary Difficulty in version 1.29.1 of the J&P Rebalance Mod. Thank you for watching today, and if you enjoy this type of content, you know what to do. Please be aware that Colonel, Brigadier General, and Major General difficulty levels all share an AI profile. Legendary has its own profile. Generally speaking, anything that you see me do in Legendary should also work on the lower difficulty levels. However, due to the aggressiveness of the Legendary AI profile, you may find that the AI on lower levels doesn't act the same way. After Prairie Grove, I had 23,728 recruits in the pool, with stats averaging 23.6. I also had 4,712 veterans, with stats averaging 45.6. Weeks earned his second star. I gave him the Fire Direction Specialist perk. My career point from the battle went into economy. I had several wounded officers in the barracks that I'm looking forward to getting back after this battle. I took the Blakeley's with reputation points. Before I cover my army configuration for the battle, I want to explain how and why I arrived at this setup. Whenever I played Fredericksburg on Major General difficulty, I would send half my best units to defend Prospect Hill and the other half to Mary's Heights. I would make one-star recruit units to send to Telegraph Road. I would put one division of cavalry or light infantry skirmishers into the reserve slots. The left reserve slot always goes to Prospect Hill to start that phase, and you can take up to 10 units. The right reserve slot deploys the first 10 brigades to Mary's Heights right after you press start to begin the phase. If you have more than 10 brigades, the rest will deploy south of Telegraph Road later. With that setup, I would hold Prospect Hill during the first phase of Day 2. I would hold Mary's Heights in Phase 2. If you hold Prospect and the Heights, the AI normally doesn't attack Telegraph in Phase 3, so you can always move those brigades up to Mary's Heights. I would then clear out Marie's and march as many brigades as possible south of the river so they can appear in Phase 4. When Phase 4 started, I would march down the Prospect Hill and try to eliminate the AI forces with the time available, and that strategy never failed on Major General difficulty. Of course, on Major General, I had 80,000 troops to fight 108,000. The AI only outnumbered me by 28,000. Whereas on Legendary difficulty, I have 73,000 troops fighting 113,000, and the AI has 40,000 more troops than me. As a result, when I follow my Major General strategy, I end up in a stalemate at Prospect Hill and Mary's Heights. I could hold both VPs and win the battle, but I could never generate enough of an offensive push to destroy the AI forces. Plus, my undersized one-star brigades marching out of Telegraph Road were clearly outmatched by the more experienced AI reinforcements that appear in Phase 3 of Day 2. I played the battle several times and always had the same results. I won, but it didn't feel satisfying to let the AI walk away without a good thrashing. So I reassessed my Major General strategy and concluded the following. First, there are 3 VPs in the battle. Technically, you only need to hold 2 out of the 3 to win. Some of the game text implies that you must hold Mary's Heights, but that isn't true. Any combination of the 3 VPs would get you the win. Second, Mary's Heights and Telegraph Road are much easier to hold than Prospect Hill. Therefore, it makes sense to prioritize holding those 2 VPs. Third, and this is the important one, my best units are stronger and I can do a lot more damage if they stay together rather than sending half of them to Prospect and the other half to Mary's Heights. So, with those 3 points in mind, I rebuilt my army to concentrate all my best forces at Mary's Heights. I still have 1-star units at Telegraph Road, but I will abandon Prospect Hill at the start of Day 2, intending to take it back by the end of the day and destroy the entire AI force in the process. With the new strategy in mind, let's take a look at my army configuration. The Army of Northern Virginia is led by Robert E. Lee, obviously. His corps will deploy at Mary's Heights. Lee has double accuracy perks with a Tier 3 cover perk. Wilcox has the 1st Division. My 4 dedicated melee brigades will primarily man the fortified walls. However, I'll rotate some of my other units in and out just so they don't take all the casualties. Walsh has led 7 battles, is the only one with 42 Springfields. The other 3 brigades all have 53 Enfield. Breathed has led 8 battles, Buckley 9, and Siegfried 17. Stockton has led his 12-pound howitzer battery for 3 battles and has a horse perk. My 1-star smoothbores will be on the gun emplacements and will likely take some damage. Rhodes has the 2nd Division. Bragg has led 8 battles. His battery has ordnance rifles with shell shot perks. Elder has led his 24-pound howitzer battery for 9 battles. The battery has a horse and shell shot perk. Wheeler has led 3 battles. His ordnance rifles have a shell shot perk. Mendenhall has led 6 battles. His 24-pound howitzer battery has a horse and canister perks. Pierce has led 4 battles. His 12-pound howitzer battery has a horse perk. Longstreet has the 3rd Division. Cabell has led 13 battles and should get his 3rd star here. His battery has Blakely's with shell shot perks. Ward is a major general, and he will command the 4th Corps of this battle. McGilvery takes over his 20-pound Parrott battery that has shell shot perks. Bruin has led his ordnance rifle battery for 2 battles and has a shell shot perk. Weeks has led his 24-pound howitzer battery for 5 battles and has a horse and accuracy perks. Doubleday has led 1 battle and gets the most forward battery with 6-pound guns and a horse perk. Anderson has the 4th Division. Ruger has led this ordnance rifle battery for 1 battle and has a shell shot perk. Amen has a new Blakely battery with a shell shot perk. Claiborne has a new ordnance battery with a shell shot perk. Stone has led 2 battles. His battery has Napoleons with a horse perk. Early has a new Napoleon battery with a horse perk. Hayes has the 5th Division. Preston, Kemper, and my Avatar all lead balanced units with an accuracy perk at Tier 1 and a melee perk at Tier 2. All 3 carry 61 Springfields. Preston has led 11 battles, Kemper 16, and my Avatar is leading Breckinridge's brigade for this battle since he is wounded. Early and Ewell lead dedicated accuracy units with 61 Springfields. Early's led 10 battles and Ewell has led 9. D.H. Hill leads the Army of Tennessee. He has double accuracy perks with a Tier 3 cover perk. This corps would deploy to Telegraph Road. With the exception of Prince's 2-star skirmisher squad, everyone here is a 1-star unit. The officers have all led between 0 and 3 battles. I gave the melee perked units 1,200 men and the accuracy perk units 850 men. All the accuracy units have 61 Springfields. The melee units have an assortment of weapons, anything from MJNGs to Mississippi's, Lorenz's, 42, 55, or 61 Springfields. Captain Garish commands a new Napoleon battery with a horse perk. Lamphere and Thomas have led 3 battles. Each has a picket squad with Harper's Ferries. Prince has led 5 battles. His squad carries 56 Enfields and has pickets and Zouaves perks. Albert Sidney Johnston leads the Army of Mississippi. He has a Tier 1 accuracy and a Tier 2 melee perk. This corps will go to the right reserve slot, so they deploy at Murray's Heights when it starts. Atkinson has the 1st Division. Crocker's led 5 battles. This squadron carries Cook and Brothers with a Tier 1 accuracy perk and a Tier 2 melee perk. Myers and Forrest are dedicated melee squadrons with Colts and Sabres. Myers has led 14 battles and Forrest 9. Ferguson and Archer are dedicated accuracy squadrons. Ferguson's led 11 battles and carries 59 Sharps carbines. Archer's led 9 battles and has Burnside carbines. Wright has the 2nd Division. McLaws and Beauregard are balanced units with a Tier 1 accuracy perk and a Tier 2 melee perk. Both carry 61 Springfields. Hood was killed, so McLaws takes over that brigade. Beauregard has led 3 battles. Jackson and Hill are dedicated accuracy units with 61 Springfields. Jackson has led 10 battles and Hill 7. Armistead has led his Carbine Cavalry Squadron for 1 battle. Leslie Ward leads the Army of the West. He has an accuracy and melee perk. This corps will deploy to Prospect Hill and attempt to escape to the west to appear in the Telegraph Road phase, but it's going to depend on how the AI deploys the 2 corps at Prospect. If the escape route is blocked, then they'll remain hidden until we return to Prospect at the end of day 2. French has the 1st Division. All 5 cavalry squadrons are new, so they're pretty fragile. Post carries Colts and has a melee perk. Kozar, Lindsay, and McGowan all have 59 Sharps carbines. Kozar and McGowan have the mounted infantry perk, and Lindsay has the scouts perk. Stewart carries shotguns with a melee perk. Ransom has the 2nd Division. The 3 skirmishers are all light infantry squads. Robinson's led 3 battles and carries 61 Springfields. Boyle has a new unit with 61 Springfields. Johnson's led 2 battles and carries DN&Cs. I'm not taking any ammo because all 3 VPs have a supply depot and I plan on stealing some wagons. The AI Army received a corps reinforcement of 31,800 men after Prairie Grove. The AI Army is currently 0% over the default size, with training and weapons quality both at 44 to 49%. The information in this overview is current as of J&P Mod version 1.29.1. The Battle for Fredericksburg occurred on December 11th and 12th, 1862. This is a 2-day defensive battle. We need to hold 2 out of the 3 VPs to win. The evening of day 1 is a short skirmish between Allied skirmisher units and a division of Union troops. You do not need to hold the objective for the battle to progress. You'll do as much damage as you can with the skirmishers and then fall back once the AI infantry brigades force their way in. On lower difficulties, you may be successful in holding the town through the entire phase. The phase is 59 minutes, but there is some extra time. If the AI takes the VP, then the phase will end once the contested timer expires. If the AI does not take the VP after 59 minutes, you can continue to fight or press finish to go to camp before day 2. Day 2 begins with us defending Prospect Hill. The Union corps of Reynolds and Smith always appear at this phase. However, there's at least 3 different alternate deployments for each corps, including one where Reynolds comes directly from the right flank. I feel that getting the original base game deployment is the easiest to defend, but mainly because Reynolds and Smith start further away and burn a lot of time before they actually arrive. Having Reynolds immediately appear on the right flank tends to be more difficult because you end up fighting the entire phase, and his corps has good cover in the woods. For this playthrough, I will immediately abandon the VP and I'll try to retake it at the end of day 2. There's an hour and a half in this phase with no extra time regardless of who holds the VP. The second phase of day 2 has us defending Mary's Heights. I know that Couch's Union Corps will always appear in Fredericksburg. I'm not 100% certain, but I believe Stoneman's Corps always enters Fredericksburg on the south side, and Butterfield's corps always on the north end. Although I've seen Butterfield's troops veer south occasionally rather than staying in the north like they normally do. We will mainly just defend in this phase and go on the offensive in the next. Like the previous phase, there's an hour and a half on the phase timer and no extra time available. Phase 3 of day 2 is when things get interesting, and you need to be aware of the alternative deployments. The Union Corps of Wilcox will typically appear northeast of Telegraph Road, which is south of Fredericksburg. However, one of his divisions may appear in the northwest corner of the map, which is your far left flank. Additionally, Pleasanton has a corps of cavalry squadrons. They are usually split up and it can appear in 4 or 5 different locations. If they are carrying melee weapons, you can expect them to immediately start to charge. If Wilcox sends a division to flank your far left, you will likely get some of Pleasanton's cavalry there too. If you abandon the northern fortifications in the previous phase to start attacking Fredericksburg, you're likely going to regret it. I suggest that you place a division of troops on the far left flank at the end of the previous phase, just in case. If the flank attack doesn't happen, then you can redeploy that division elsewhere. One more thing about this phase. I said earlier the AI will usually not attack Telegraph Road if the player is holding Prospect and Mary's Heights. However, in this battle, I've abandoned Prospect Hill. Therefore, I need to be aware of the AI sending troops from Prospect to Telegraph at any point for the rest of the battle. So I will keep a few scouts in the far south. There are 2 hours and 59 minutes in this phase with no extra time regardless of who holds the VPs. The last phase of Day 2 returns us to Prospect Hill, with Telegraph Road still available. If you are holding both Prospect Hill and Marie's Heights, then all the fighting is likely only going to be at Prospect Hill. If you didn't hold Marie's Heights, then you should expect the AI to send troops from Marie's down towards Telegraph in this phase. Likewise, if you didn't hold Prospect Hill, you should expect the AI to march on Telegraph Road with its troops from Prospect. My plan is to eliminate the forces at Marie's and have moved most of my forces south to appear at the start of this phase. I will then march on Prospect Hill to see if I can retake the VP and eliminate the AI forces. I've never played the battle this way, so I have no idea if this is going to work. There are 2 hours and 58 minutes in this phase with no extra time available. Okay, let's get to the battle. For the only phase of Day 1, I will have 819 Allied troops, which is 3 skirmisher squads, not counting unit splits. They will be facing 9,277 Union troops and 25 guns. I will then place my units, which won't fight until Day 2. I have a total of 73,828 troops and 237 guns. We will need to wait until Day 2 to see how large the total Union force will be, but with 10 in recon, we can take a look at what the AI is taking to Day 1. I see 2 James gun batteries and 5 infantry brigades, not counting unit splits. The infantry appear to all be carrying 61 Springfields. With rare exceptions, the only time I've paused in this legendary CSA campaign is to deploy my forces at the start of a phase, or when I get a large amount of reinforcements. Here, I just want to see which perks the skirmishers have rolled. Although I like the Allied skirmishers to have light infantry perks for the cover and speed bonuses in other battles, I prefer the accuracy perks here for the extra damage. I just happen to get lucky with the perks here. With the accuracy perk, each of these units can get 400 to 500 kills on a good run in this phase. For as long as the AI units are out in the open trying to cross the bridge, these skirmishers can do decent damage. They can usually rout the 1st Infantry Brigade and the Artillery Battery. Once any of the infantry brigades make it into town, allowing them increased cover, the skirmishers will do much less damage to them. As a result, the infantry can retain their morale and not rout. It is nearly impossible to rout a 3-star infantry brigade if it makes it into the good cover of the town. At that point, I will pull the skirmishers back and reposition in the south until the fight is over. Keep in mind that in this mod version, skirmishers take an extra 25% in morale damage from being shot, so you want to maximize your cover. You can get an extra 10% in cover bonus by staying in one spot. Once you place in a unit, you'll see the cover here climb from 75% up to 85%. If you move, you will immediately lose that extra 10%. Additionally, if a unit is moving while it's being charged, it loses morale faster. So I try not to move my guys until the last second if possible. Since my troops did not fight in day one, there's nothing for me to do here at camp. However, I did save the game. When possible, you should save the game from a camp screen. Some goofy bugs can occur if you save during the phase of a battle. 99 times out of 100, you may not have any issues, but that 100th time can bite you. You might get lucky, and the only thing that happens is the AI changes its strategy when you reload the save. There's also a zombie bug where any units that you shattered prior to the save come back to fight again in later phases. Although you still gain experience from fighting them again, you don't get any extra weapons recovery. The worst case is that the save file is corrupted. When that happens, each time you try to reload, it defaults to the camp before the battle, and then you have to play the entire battle over again. Now we can see the AI total force before unit splits. The Union has 101 brigades totaling 113,000 troops and 268 guns. I have 76 brigades totaling 73,009 troops and 237 guns. It looks like the 61 Springfield is the default weapon, and variance hits can bump a brigade up to the 63 Springfields. Most of the artillery batteries have 24-pound howitzers or James rifled guns, with a few others mixed in. The cavalry squadrons are carrying Colts or 59 Sharps carbines. One has Frank Wesson pistols. I didn't see any dedicated skirmishers. I will start by moving my cavalry and skirmishers to the southwest corner. Then I'll scout the area to the north to see if Smith's corps is coming from this direction. If not, I can sneak up the left side and make the phase change and appear at Telegraph Road later. I have 5 cavalry squadrons, but they're all small and recruit units. They won't stand a chance against those 2 maximum size melee cavalry out in the open. Plus, it'd also pull the AI infantry over that way, and I'd probably attack my skirmishers. If the AI cavalry voluntarily comes south, I would have a chance to rout them from cover because the cavalry get a melee penalty when attacking a cover. Otherwise, these guys are going to have to wait here until the last phase of day 2. The first thing I need to do is get my defense organized. I want my dedicated melee brigades on the stone walls. I want 4 of my brigades defending the left flank from being attacked at the start of the next phase. I will also move up 2 Napoleon batteries to assist. I want my 6-pound battery in the forward gun emplacement, my 12-pound howitzers in the next forward location, and my 24-pound howitzers in the other gun emplacements. My rifled guns will be lined up in the rear. I will use hotkeys to create 3 groups of rifled guns for quick target selection. This is one of the battles where hotkeys get lost between phases and I'll need to reset at the start of the next phase. I don't know why that's inconsistent between battles. My division of cavalry will come in with the reinforcements. They can go to my left flank, but they will have a little time to do some raiding before the next phase. I also have a division of infantry brigades that will back up my dedicated infantry at the walled fortifications. My dedicated melee brigades can defend the walls for this phase and the next, but the casualties start to pile up by the end. So I will rotate my other brigades in for much of this phase, just so my melee units don't have to take all of the punishment. can see Couch in the center here and Stoneman's troops along the south of town. Those infantry brigades that just crossed the bridge on the north are from Butterfield's corps. My detached skirmisher on the far north is scouting them and the artillery battery on the other side of the river. Once those infantry brigades are away from the rear of the town, so there's nothing in the way, I will send 3 cavalry squadrons to the other side of the river to take out any artillery back there and maybe pick off a supply wagon or 2. all my cavalry to be back in time before the phase change in case I get the left flank attack. So they don't have a lot of time to be screwing around. I can abort this raid if I need to. Myers and Forrest are dedicated melee squads, so they're fast. Crocker has a tier 2 melee perk, so he does have some speed. There are several gun batteries still moving, so hopefully I can get past them before they can load and fire. That artillery battery hit my cavalry a few times getting back here, but now he's busy with my skirmisher, so I'll charge him with Forrest. I'll send Myers and Crocker after Butterfield in the supply wagons. There should also be another battery in a supply wagon on the south end if I have time to go get them. If I try to send the supply wagons to my troops now, the AI will just intercept them into town. So I'll stash them over here for now. Once my flank attack starts in the next phase, so I have control of the northern bridges, I will send them across then. I want to send my cavalry back when there's about 15 minutes left, so I have about 10 minutes to spend on this side. I also need to watch that infantry brigade that routed to the rear of town. It might be in my way when it's time for me to go back. That infantry brigade moved back to the front line, so I'll need to cap one last wagon and then get back across without the artillery hitting me too hard. Cavalry made it back in good shape, and they can rest a few minutes before the phase change. The AI infantry are looking pretty beaten up along the line of Fredericksburg, giving my flank attack a better chance of success in the next phase. Hopefully I won't get the left flank attack on my force and therefore not waste time fighting there before I can attack. If the left flank attack is going to happen, you will immediately see it when this phase starts. So it's not happening here. With the game paused, I will take the time to deploy my troops to assault the AI forces. I do expect the AI to charge more to start this phase, so I'm going to swap my melee brigades back into the fortifications. The AI has some units coming down towards Telegraph Road, so I'll need to scout those and see what I need to do there. I should also expect some kamikaze cavalry charges early in this phase. Right about now is when I remembered that if you eliminate all the AI forces, the phase immediately ends, which would mean leaving nearly my entire army at Mary's Heights for the last phase. Having remembered that, I paused to push troops south and to try to create an opening for a few of the AI units to route across the bridges east of town so the phase timer wouldn't end. I almost forgot and completely messed this up. You'll see me turning off firing for a bunch of units and trying to get them to move away before the last of the AI units surrender. Eventually, I will leave a few one-star units to guard the bridges and keep the AI survivors on the other side of the river. The last phase. Most of my army managed to cross the river and be available here. I have no idea if Smith and Reynolds are still hanging out at Prospect Hill celebrating their victory, or if they're moving on to Telegraph to capture it. I'll need to scout out the situation and see if I can eliminate them and recapture the VP. I don't need Prospect Hill VP to win. I just want to see if I can do it. The AI has had more 1- and 2-star brigades here than I would have expected. That's mainly due to me getting full clears at many battles to keep the numbers on the intelligence reports suppressed. I'd like to keep doing that. With that said, there is a mechanic in place that begins around Chancellorsville or Gettysburg. If the AI size, training, and armory have been kept suppressed, the odds of the AI getting veterans, training, and weapons boosts can increase for all the remaining battles. But I like to keep it down with decisive victories when I can. We have blue dots on the map in the southwest and northeast, so clearly not everyone is at Prospect Hill, so this could get interesting. I will slow my advanced troops and let everyone else catch up just in case they get into trouble. I also want to move the Army of the West units from the early day to link up with the rest of my force. it looks like somebody's on their way to Telegraph Road. At least they'll be easier to kill out here in the open rather than in cover. Salazar was already wounded. I'm going to use his cavalry to scout out the southern areas. The visibility is already bad and will get worse as it gets darker. So he could easily run right into an enemy brigade and I could lose him. I'll scout the eastern side with my other cavalry squadrons. The AI had a 40,000 man advantage when this day began, but the balance of forces bar at the top is definitely in my favor now. I might actually pull this off. AI has 17,070 guns left against my 43,195 guns. It also appears that Prospect Hill has been left unguarded. I don't know what helps me more, the AI leaving the VP open or leaving cover to charge my infantry and artillery out in the open to be mowed down just as fast as they can get to me. Either way, I appreciate the help. So we finished with 7 minutes to spare. I had 4,846 killed, 14,701 wounded, and 2,132 missing, which is 30% of my total force. The AI lost 89,734 men, which is 79% of its deployed forces. A pretty bloody affair on both sides, but the killed are the only troops permanently lost. Everyone else has a good chance to come back to me through medicine and the casualty system over the next couple of battles. I don't think any of my high-ranking officers were killed, so I should be in good shape for Everettsville and Stones River. Johnston made it to Lieutenant General, so that gives me 3. I captured 21,105 small arms, 56 cannons, and 16 supply wagons, not counting recoveries of my own weapons. Given the CSA limitations on artillery purchases, getting the James and 24-pound howitzers is a nice bonus. With previous captures, I think I can field a brigade of 63 Springfields now. Everettsville and Stones River will be up next. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time watching today. I hope you found something useful for your campaigns, and I wish you much success, Generals.